So the events over the last few days have affected me a lot. Now, I haven't agreed with a lot of things that Charlie has said or believed in. I mean, in fact, I probably disagreed with about 95 to 98, maybe even 99% of what he said. There was one or two semblance of things that I agreed with, but overall, we couldn't be any more different. But what transpired over the last couple days and with the passing of Charlie Kirk and the way he was politically assassinated, and this was a political assassination, make no mistake. The reality is the so-called freedom of speech is only available until people disagree with you. And what's being shown here is if you don't toe the company line and agree with the left, they will come out and murder you. There's just no two ways about it. And that's what we saw happen over here. Now, it's really sad because, you know, despite everything that happened and everything he said, everything he stood for, the way the human race has reacted to this, especially the left, has, you know, it's disgusting. It's downright disgusting. And it just shows how deplorable, you know, these people actually are. This, regardless of what his beliefs were and what his intentions were, he never he wasn't a violent person. He always opened up a forum for people to come, open debate, and challenge, and have that debate with him. At no point was he, you know, advocating for violence, advocating for anything else. He was there putting a platform, and he said this time and time again that more people need to talk to, to remove this divide. Now, I will say that some stuff I don't agree with. You know, his stances were he believed in, and it is what it is. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. His opinion was one way, other people's were the other. But does that mean that he needed to die? Does that mean that because of his political beliefs, his religious beliefs, that he should have been killed for it? Especially in the graphic way in front of his wife and kids. Now, over the past couple of days, you know, just read it's all over social media. And yesterday I decided that enough was enough. I needed to step away because it was affecting me mentally a lot to see just how downright bad people can actually be. Just downright how disgusting these people actually are. And they are scum. And I'm not afraid to say that. They are beyond scum. But you know, it's horrible to see how everyone has turned and reacted to this. And so I wanted to preface this. What I'm going to be going through in this video is actually quite disturbing. It's going to be tackling really difficult conversations, and it's going to be showing there's nothing graphic per se, but just the comments that people are making and just how down bad people actually are in this world we live in that is continuously being divided and being heralded that this divide is good and that being able to have an open conversation is not something we can do anymore. This week has been a very bad week. So that's my disclaimer. If these sorts of topics are going to offend you, then please do just turn the video off from now. All right. So I wanted to start off with this one because Nib over here, now I'm not going to go into the console warring side. He's already trying to damage control. And I think this is completely and utterly disgusting. There is nothing that you can damage control about this. But good on him for PlayStation first. Let's go. Right? Good on him. PlayStation first because it didn't do for Hogwarts Legacy or Cyberpunk 27. Good on him. But this is the family that, Charlie left behind. He left behind two beautiful kids and wife. And as a parent myself, I can only imagine, you know, just the thought of me leaving my kids behind just breaks my heart. It completely shatters me. Now, I personally have watched a lot of debates Charlie Kirk does. There are some where he completely and utterly got owned, and they were really amusing to watch. But then there was stuff where he completely and utterly obliterated the opposition because they come unprepared. Now, watching his debates has been a huge pastime of mine. And, I've enjoyed his content. Not what he believes in, but just the way he's open to forum and is allowing people to debate him and prove him wrong. And that's a great thing. Having conversation and talking and getting people to discuss things, even if they don't agree with it, is a good thing. Being able to have those discussions is a positive thing. This is something that we should be doing more, not advocating for less. And all this has done is advocated for it for less. In fact, do people actually believe that what's happened today, well, what happened with Charlie Kirk's passing, is actually going to reduce the demand for guns in America? No, this is actually going to increase the need for the Second Amendment to stay in place. In fact, this pretty much is going to become the cornerstone, the pivotal point where it will never go away. So by the left doing what they did, they pretty much solidified that this will never be repealed. And honestly, from what I'm reading right now, they're even making a martyr out of him just to push that divide even further. And I'm scared for, I've got friends in America, I've got family in America, and I'm scared that what could happen, right? America is, one of the most important countries out there. They're massive. And having this sort of civil war over there is not going to it's not going to benefit anyone. You know, this needs to stop. It needs to end. You've got Jay Fonzarelli over here. I want to thank game developers who've showed their true colors the last couple of days. Thanks to those of you who have advocated for political violence. I will not be purchasing your games now. I think these companies need to do better at hiring. Absolutely disgusting. And at the end of the day, I agree with him. Having a view is one thing, but advocating, and you can disagree with someone, you can say what you like, but when you're actively promoting violence, when you're wanting someone else's, you know, passing, and you then go on to celebrate that sort of thing, that's when you cross the line. That's no longer around, freedom of speech. Because, you know, people say, well, freedom of speech is freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean that there's freedom of consequence. And what people are asking for from these studios now is to go through and anyone that's actually doing this sort of thing, for them to be fired on the spot, for the company to come out and say, we are not tolerating this. And as these people have crossed the line, they have been let go. They just want a statement to say that, to show that these companies also do not follow the same ideals as these people. Not coming out and making it. You all remember what happened with the Avowed situation. That was nowhere near as bad as what happened here. And, you know, Microsoft and everyone, they just stayed quiet and wrote it off. And the dude is still employed. And he shouldn't be. He should have been fired for what he did. Because what he did was pure racism. He basically said that if you are white, you can't get a job here. That's discrimination at the highest standard, right? So this isn't one thing or another. It's just it's sickening. Look at it. You've got the D program over here. I don't even know why they crossed it out. They really shouldn't have crossed it out. They want Asmund got they're advocating for violence, even more violence. They're saying do him next. Asmund, please, make sure you actually sort yourself out, man. Get the protection you need, because there is no knowing these weirdos. They can dox you, find your address. It's a really horrible thing. You've got people over here like this. You've got Kyle over here, technical assistant at Blizzard, telling people, he's rallying people to kill your local mugger. You've got Max Davenport over here. Where is he? You got Max Davenport here, right there, the third one from the bottom, who's associated with Gearbox, is a lead concept artist. It really seems to be these artist guys as well. These people, if you notice, the one that worked for that was with Avowed was a creative art. Kyle is technical artist. Max Davenport is associate art director. It seems to be a trend with these people being completely and utterly mentally, it's a mental illness almost. You can't do this. This isn't normal behavior. You can't be going around and advocating and supporting killing other people and thinking it's okay. You may have not pulled the trigger, but you're part of the problem. Right? You are part of the problem. This is sickening. I almost never look at Grums, but for God's sake, this is horrible. You got Marco Vallepando, again, a character artist at Insomniac Games. He's retweeting what people were basically saying. Have some decorum. Like, he's mocking it. Violence is bad. Be careful what you say online. Screw that old bitch. He's a Nazi. And he's supporting it. Insomniac Games, where are you getting rid of these people? This reflects badly on you. They can say what they want, but there should be a consequence. If I said this where I worked on a public forum, I would be fired on the spot. So why are these people given a pass? Why are the left given a pass? They should not be given a pass. Their careers should be ruined. You can say what you want, but that doesn't mean there should be, freedom of consequence. That's not how this works. You've got Cult Classic Game Cage here. Some evil ass people working at Bungie, Sucker Punch, and Coalition Games. You've got Drew over here, and this one is the main one that we're going to be focusing on today, but there is a lot more. But they clearly work at Sucker Punch. They aligned themselves, and they said, I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back. Like, he's completely and utterly mocking the situation. Right? Completely. And then you've got Kelly Snyder, who liked it, senior producer at Sucker Punch. You got Lee Cash, senior producer at the Coalition. I mean, clearly the culture at Sucker Punch is completely devoid of any form of common sense. The activists have completely and utterly taken over. It explains a lot. You've got Zib over here, producer at MTG Arena, previously at Sucker Punch. Now, when you've got one, not two, but three people coming out from that same company and all having the same mindset, you have to start to accept that whatever this festered culture is, it's infected the people at Sucker Punch, and they're seeing this as normal. This is part of their culture now, and they need to clean house. And again, special effects associate producer, part of the art team. This seems to be a very art-driven thing. I mean, obviously, Bungie is constantly stealing stuff anyway, so they've got no morals as it is. But it's disgusting. You've got this over here, right? Asman is requesting people to put up. He's putting, he's going gung-ho on this and telling people, if you know any one of these where they work, to actually contact their HR department and report them. And I think that's the right thing to do. Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything violent. Don't react online. But go and complain to these companies directly to the HR, because HR doesn't care about the staff. HR doesn't care about, anything that's not relevant or prevalent to the business's safety. They are there to safeguard the business. And if the business comes under threat, whatever's in making that threat to the business gets removed. And that's the easiest way to deal with this. You've got Sean Chiplock over here, who is basically Diluc from Genshin Impact. I hope they receive all the same care the average American citizen would get in that same situation. Basically, don't make it I mean, I get it. Everyone should be given the same level of care, but the way he's worded this, come on, man, this is not right. This is not right. This is Sean Chiplock, he posted this on Blue Sky today. It's clear Blue Sky went mental. Everyone found their safe haven at Blue Sky where they can get their echo chamber going. It's almost become like a terrorist group over there, a haven. And now, because Blue Sky has actually started to clamp it down, they're talking about going to Mastodon. That's a cult right there. Blue Sky today about Charlie Kirk's death, mocking him, employed by Crunchyroll. Sony's the parent company. As a shareholder, I am less than enthralled. Like, seriously, the Bungie Sony, Sucker Punch Sony, Coalition, you need to get rid of that person as well. Lee Cash. Now, there was some development over at Sucker Punch, because clearly people were going to HR, or maybe they actually noticed what was going on. They had the Sucker Punch logo there, well, the information. That's now completely and utterly being removed, and it's assumed that she is now gone, and, zero tolerance for death cults celebrating assassinations. And this is the problem, right? You can say that you don't agree with him. You can say that you don't like him, and I'm perfectly okay with that. You can say that you had no care for him. But when you turn around and start celebrating his death, that's a problem. That's when you cross a line. And I think that's where, as a society, we fail. People should not be doing that. Again, here's another one showing that they have been fired. But, they're saying if standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job I held for 10 years, I would do it again 100 times stronger. Did you really get fired? If so, please post a GFM. I'll pay the money for the game directly to you instead of buying it. Now, this is crazy. And then you got Drew over here. I don't need any money. Ghost of Yote is an amazing game made by 200 people I love dearly. And this is the other thing, right? The other staff who are mentally sound, right? Who can actually make rational decisions, they are now being penalized because this game could potentially do really badly. And that would mean, that would have dire effects on this studio. But these people don't care about that. All they care about is their 5 minutes of fame. And as you can see here, September 2016 to September 2025, 9 years and 1 month, and they are gone. And Sucker Punch, you did the right thing. What you need to do is also get rid of the other staff that were there. Sucker Punch artist allegedly loses dream job after Charlie Kirk comments. I would do it again, they say. I mean, they're doubling down. This is how disgusting this Drew Harrison actually is. And for those of you that don't know, the Luigi Mangione, who was accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year, that was a reference for the whole Luigi. It wasn't a Nintendo reference. It was a reference to this. They worded it very, very diligently. So they knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't a mistake. And they didn't even come back and say, I apologize for what I did. It was crass. It was uncalled for. It was just in a moment of thing. And I take back and apologize reservedly. At least then you could have some kind of understanding, but that's not the case here either. I hope the shooter's name is Mario, so that Luigi knows his bro's got his back. Maybe instead of emailing people's employers, y'all should be emailing your reps and demand gun control immediately. Drew posted again several hours later, implying that her comments had been reported to her employers. Good. It seems Asmongold's requests actually worked, and people actually did contact the employers and got her fired. That is great news. This is the type of thing that you want to see happening, right? Then earlier this morning, she wrote, if standing up against fascism is what cost me my dream job, like, there is no remorse from this person. This person is just sick. Sick. They are sick. Then you've got this one over here, Jeremiah Farmer, married father of 4, hard worker. This person here has a family. Right? Just like Charlie had a family. This person has a family. And they are advocating for those children to be left without a father. We need to find people with better aim because they shot him in the neck and not the head. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And all this is going to do is create more violence. Violence begets violence. It continues and it gets more, and civil war begins. And this is basically the beginning of it. Whether you want to believe that or not is irrelevant. The fact is, there will be repercussions from this. You've already got Donald Trump turning around and issuing statements of complete divide between the liberals and the the libs and the Dems. It's happening. He's completely created a divide. This is only going to get worse. You've got MBG over here, who basically decided that he was going to speak up, and people started ruining him. He isn't damage controlling here. He wants accountability. So why are people holding him back? Why are people silencing him? But this is the one that's crazy, right? This is on the day of this, after the assassination. I hope they do Rogan next, J.K. Rowling next, Ben Shapiro next. These are sick individuals. All it took was one to be, charged enough to do it. Now you've got a whole list of people wanting people to making a list of who's going to be next. Isn't it going to be safe to walk out on the streets anymore? You even got a whole website here, right? It's crazy. Like, these people, individuals, I don't understand how you can do this to someone that's died. He has a political opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to, go with it. He has no political power. He has no political standing. He's not in parliament. He's not in Congress or Senate. He's just ultimately, like my friend said, he's a nobody. He didn't deserve to die over an opinion, over a belief. And this is my problem with this. As I said at the beginning, I did not agree with almost anything he said. But good Lord, just because look at this guy. He works at the Boeing Space Defense Intelligence System in the US, DOW. And he's saying he got what he deserved. So how does that, how is someone like that going to make correct decisions when the time comes? Oh, that guy disagrees with my political standing, so we should go for him instead? Is that how this works? Is that how this works? Like, there is an absolute sickness to all of this. And I don't really care if people are going to say I shouldn't be sharing all this. This is public information on charliesmurders.com. I'll have a link to it in the description below. I just think that this is absolutely beyond disgusting that people are celebrating and cheering and advocating and promoting political violence in this day and age. Having an opinion is there to have an opinion. You can disagree with it. There's a saying, everyone has an arsehole and it stinks. An opinion is no different. I don't have to agree with your opinion. But it turns out if I don't agree with the leftist opinion, I'm going to have a bullet in the middle of my head. That's how I'm seeing this. And, it's just so depressing. I've actually been struggling a lot over the past couple of days because of what happened and the graphic nature that it did happen in, especially with his family being there and, by his side as it actually happened. His wife and kids were there. And no one cares. No one shows any form of remorse. Just because someone says something doesn't mean they need to die for it. But apparently, according to the left, they do. And that's the point where you know that they are far too gone. Mentally, they are far too gone. And this disease needs to be resolved. Not through violence, but through means that can hopefully bring society and civilization back together again. This should not be happening. We should not be reacting like this, in this day and age. It's 2025. And yet here we are cheering and promoting and advocating and celebrating the passing of someone who just had an opinion that was different from yours. Regardless of how drastic or right wing that opinion was, it still doesn't mean that they did anything wrong. Charlie was not a violent person. He always provided a medium for people to debate, have that open conversation, to have those discussions, to try and bridge the gap between the two sides. And this is what made him different to other people. He always did this and provided a voice. When people were jeering and booing these people when they were making their statement, making their debate, he would tell the crowd to quiet down and be quiet and let them have their moment to speak, because he respected the fact that people would come forward and actually air their opinion and their concerns and have that discussion with him. And there were times where he got owned and other times where he won. But to actually die for that, there is something systematically wrong with everything. And now we're seeing Sucker Punch actually getting rid of Drew, which I think was the right move. But there are still people in there that need to be cleaned out. The gaming industry does not need these people. And it seems to be generally resolved around the artists. So maybe there should be a better scrutiny and check on these people through their media accounts to see if they are a right fit for the company. Because by employing these people, you are saying that you agree with their culture, because they will spin out at some point and it will reflect badly on you. This is not right, people. This is not right. You know, I actually have been severely depressed over the last couple of days. I've been saying stuff online that I haven't said forever, and I feel like shit for saying them. And so I've started blocking people because I can't deal with that level of just pure hatred, that level of pure animosity, that level of just pure disgusting human behavior. We're supposed to be an evolving species, yet all I see is animals devolving. And this shouldn't be the way it is. Asmongold was right for making the video. He was right for getting people to stand up and tell people to air their views. Tectone was right for doing the same thing. And, here I am doing this, and people shouldn't stay silent about this because that's what they want. This is going to be, like I said at the start of the video, I'm not going to follow this up with anything else. I needed to get this off my chest. I've said what I need to say. I've said what I need to do. And that's it. I'm going to move on from this. I wish Charlie and his family the best. I hope they recover from this as best as they can after such a tragic loss. May Charlie rest in peace. But going forward, I do not want this coming up in my streams. I do not want this coming up anywhere else. This is the only place I am going to discuss this, and that is it. I don't want this appearing anywhere else. I am done with this topic. It's mentally affected me enough to the point where I needed to get this out there. I know some of you are going to disagree with me, and honestly, I don't care. You're free to unsubscribe, right? That's that. It's my opinion on how I see things, and you're more than welcome to disagree. Now, just because you disagree with me doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that we can agree to disagree, and that is how the human race works. We can be civil about things. But if you want to be a toxic person, then just unsubscribe and move away. I'm okay with my channel losing a few hundred subscribers if need be. But I needed to get this out there for my own mental sanity, because I've been having a rough time, a really rough time dealing with this, seeing how people have been reacting to this, seeing how people have just been talking about this and thinking it's fun and funny to have someone assassinated in front of their family over a political view. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to be making any follow-up videos to this. all I want from Sucker Punch is for them to come out and make a statement, and I think everyone will be happy with that. That this is official. I mean, it is official anyway because their LinkedIn is updated, and updating it in that way where you're not working there could have other legal ramifications. And I just we there needs to be a cleansing of these people. They need to be removed from places where they have any influence because they're dangerous. And this applies to the extreme right and the extreme left. If you are left, right, or center, you are fine. But the extremists from either side, they need to be treated differently because their mindset is completely different and it's not a normal mindset. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for hearing me ramble and going through this. And honestly, I feel a little better getting this off my chest. And yeah, that's, I'm just going to finish it there, folks.